Can't help them look for balls. That's about. It's kind of
Interesting.
boring, just following around.
It would be.
And when it was windy,
Hey, what's the trick?
I think it's on top here.
This first one?
Oh.
Heck, there's two of them.
There's one on the side
Is it
there.
on the side? Oh, there it is.
Oh,
Slide up. There you go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
that's a secret passcode.
all right. I think we're ready to go.
Hold on.
So we'll call the May Byron Planning and Zoning meeting to order. Here is Even, Holberger, Bodine, Jensen, and Dempsey, Representative Cook, and Planning Director Lumen. Did everybody have an opportunity to look over the agenda, and are there any changes?
No changes.
Do we have a motion to approve today's agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second it.
All right, all in favor to approve agenda, say aye.
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 All opposed? All right, agenda is approved. Everyone have the opportunity to read the February consent agenda. Any changes needed?
Nope.
Nope.
Any motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Awesome.
I'll second.
Awesome. All in favor?
Aye.
Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All right, consent agenda approved. All right, communications, Kelly.
I don't know if anybody had any specific questions. A few things I wanted to point out, not necessarily that were in the council minutes, but the construction on the fire hall started this week. We're adding another bay at the end. Gardens are good and up and going this week. The pickleball courts are, it's springs in the air. Everything is going. So the last council meeting, we had a nice crowd. They did a Lifesavers Award for that gentleman that they saved out by Oxbow. And then we honored one of our employees, 30 years with the city. So that was huge. Those are kind of the bigger things. Did you guys have any other specific questions, or?
Two questions. The roundabout, right on the corner here, when's the target date for that?
June, I think the first week in June.
They're gonna close the roundabout right after school closes.
Yep. I think June 6th
Like
is
the
the
next
targeted.
week after.
Next week,
Yeah.
after the school is done, they're closing it, we got the utilities, I asked Tom this morning, the utilities have 2 weeks to get their stuff done, so they're hoping that they can get in and
Alright.
get their stuff done, and then they, contractor.
Oh, sorry, June 8th is that Monday, I think is what
And how are they
they're.
gonna reroute the traffic?
I think 14 get to County Road 3 and back on 4th Street. Otherwise, 7th,
So basically, between the two roundabouts now,
yeah,
there won't be any local traffic,
correct.
So there won't be any.
or through traffic, sorry, through traffic, sorry, through traffic.
You can go to 7th Street and you can go from, if you're on this side, you could go to 7th Street, you could go down 7th to County Road 5, and then you could come back if you're wanting something on the frontage road. Otherwise,
The harder direction is if you're coming from the east, you have to catch, like, Byron Avenue is the last railroad crossing before you get to 10th Avenue. So that's the harder one to catch coming back. But I haven't seen the exact detour map, and that will be posted out there and all of that.
Probably take about a month to move, you think?
They are planning, it's required to be back open before school starts, so,
Oh, that's all summer.
yeah.
Wow. That's a
There-
big impact then.
Yeah,
the railroad in to do some work during crossing will be closed on 10th because there's nowhere to go, so they
Yeah, hopefully they repair the railroad east of town out by Valls. That is, that's a big old hole out there. What was the other second question? Oh, shoot.
Pickleball?
Oh, no, what's going on with the volleyball courts?
The park board discussed, they made approval to put sand courts back into Valley View. So those will be going back this summer. That's not a huge task for internal staff. We'll just dig it out and put sand in.
One or two?
I believe what was there. I don't know the exact dimensions. Whatever the plan stated when they did the
Okay.
basketball courts
Yep.
plan there. And then they are looking into options expanding into the other parks. They have to determine if we want to stick with sand because apparently grass volleyball is becoming more popular. So I don't know. That's going to be up in conversations. They didn't want to commit to sand ones at other parks and kind of get a feel for
Okay,
if grass volleyball is really more desired versus sand volleyball. I don't know.
Thank you.
When are the pickleball courts slated to be done? Do you know?
I don't know the exact completion date, but this summer. So
And that's still gonna be a register online or rent? Or is
You
that,
have to reserve those?
I can't
or is it just
remember. I thought-
open?
it's,
I don't know what
I
they
guess,
decided on that because I don't know.
it's a city facility, but
Facility, so
I think it's,
I don't know if we've made any deal with, community yet for reserving, 'cause we don't have a reservation system ourselves yet.
I think if they're gonna treat it like how we treat the ball fields and basketball courts, my assumption. We do have a rec intern starting in the next couple weeks. May 18th is our first date. Our goal there is to build a rec department and have all of this more organized and opportunities available and all of that, so. Hang on for that, because she's got lots of ideas already, so.
That's a good thing.
Yes, we're all excited for it, so.
okay, great. New business?
Yeah, so I wanted to bring this back. It's been a while since we met, and it's been a while since we reviewed this, but when we did our comprehensive plan review, I went through section by section, and it was briefly talked about the neighborhood districts map. There was a conversation regarding the way that that's pied out right now. I did get clarification that that pie graph for that map, I think it opens it in a new tab if you wanted to. It doesn't?
It won't let me click on it.
It's down at the bottom too. The pie graph does represent that hashed area. And they earmarked 40% green space, 30% residential, 10% highway commercial, 5% medium density, 5% high density, and 10% community retail. The yellow areas have not been identified yet as development goes. I know there was conversations regarding what, with 30% retail, is that still realistic in that hashtag area? With the highway shifting south and having that backage road going through there, do we want to look at adjusting that pie graph? What do you guys kind of see, envision in that area south of 14?
Are there any considerations with the land, like the usability of it for certain things?
I'm sorry, what was,
Just in general, the land there, I mean, with different waterways, or is there considerations there that we should be aware of?
You can see the waterways already if you look at the green strips that are kind of
Mm-hmm.
where those will be undevelopable, so they're gonna be green space.
I can say that that land is relatively flat there compared to the northern section. You can see on another map in our comprehensive plan that goes over the slopes. So to me, it is ideal for commercial. I do see why they did 40% green space. To give more clarification on how they got their percentages, They were to accommodate a mix of different uses, that levels that were based on models most effective for the neighborhood design. They were basing it off of the 2017 sanitary sewer study that was completed. I can tell you that I pulled that study, and those percentages are exactly what our engineers came up with. I'd have to have further conversations with our engineers on how they came up with the 30% residential. That's more earmarked towards capacity for sewer. I don't know if that's still the idea that we envision down there for having mostly residential houses in that hashtag area. I know staff internally has been kind of advertising that as commercial space available to the city, because we don't have much for commercial land, and residential development happens more on the north side of town. And I know from our conversations at the last meeting that we had that you guys kind of envisioned more commercial high density along the highway there, with housing further south and west and east potentially. So didn't know if that was still kind of how you guys envision that, if we have other ideas, conversations. It would probably, yeah.
Close to what you would get from
The waterways.
the waterways, that park, and the fact that any new development has to dedicate parkland or pay a fee, so I think parkland dedication. On right south of it, working, but
Yep. Do we know in that area today how much of the highway commercial, I mean, there is some stuff down there. Do we know what's occupied of that pie chart today?
so you have the commercial, industrial, actually, I don't even know if those would count as commercial or industrial. Would Cook count as industrial, or, he's not actually manufacturing there, but
I think that's all commercial. I'll pull up our zoning map here, but I believe that's all commercial over there. And then where RMS is commercial as well.
Because they would fall in within that 10% today. I mean, it makes me wonder, is 10% big enough?
yeah, I don't think 10% is big enough for the commercial.
Agreed.
You're gonna end up with especially along the, whatever, south frontage road is.
Even if we rezoned it to be more, to have some more like medium density housing, or just housing in general, like, is there an appetite for that? Like, are people going to want to build right next to Highway 14? I don't know.
So I think,
Yeah.
if you look everywhere else, I think you'll see a lot of apartment buildings right next to highways.
Kind of Mankato has a bunch of.
Single family, no.
Yeah,
but-
single family, no, but
And so I think that's your thing right there, is you're probably a little high on you're high on the single family, it should be more rural and more multifamily.
If it's just that red spot, I think that's super accurate, especially with the on-ramps being right in the middle of that district, right?
Well, on the north side of 14, there's been a lot of discussions internally with council and others as far as, I mean, that'd be a great place to actually kind of create.
Well, and you'll see that little pie chart, it's 40, that's already neighborhood retail, high density, medium density, and park space. So on the north side of 14. I can see kind of the south side with it being kind of the gateway into the community coming from the south with the green space and that on the south side. But to Susie's point too, you'll have more odds, personally I see, with building apartment buildings than single-family homes along 14, so.
And I would imagine with apartment buildings, you might want some community retail, neighborhood retail available there.
One thing I noticed when I compare the Olmsted charts from their previous plans, this chart shows the new Highway 14 heading south much earlier. It's already, on this chart, it's showing that it's cutting out right at 10th Avenue. And DeCook's business there, and there's 5 other businesses.
That's just giving you the approximation, where the official mapping has it more specific, and it starts right at the edge of the Duke area lot. It cuts into some
Yes,
of that a little
yes.
bit in that park there. So, I mean, this isn't the exact location for 14 interchange, and I do believe that will include the right-of-way. It's including the right-of-way area and not just the highway, so.
If we update it and we actually paid update,
Accurate.
I said in a few of those discussions, and when that plan that's out there, there's much discussion about reducing speed from 65 to 55, because that curvature is going to be more than this map shows. The curvature south.
pretty steep curve though, close to the west side of Rochester, and that's the reason every time I see, you see all the cars in the ditch, because people don't slow down
Yeah.
there.
This one's interesting because it is going to run very close to that new business that's out there,
Yeah, that's.
right on their property line.
The city bought the whole
Right.
golf course, and once they did the official mapping and know where the highway's gonna land on that, we were able to plat out the area that was available for sale, and RMS took that, so, and there's room for, and then the Backage Road, so they're on the north side of the Backage Road, that will continue through there over to Country Club Road, so.
So the road they put in will stay. So the Highway 14 will be right next to it then.
Yeah, the on-off ramps, there's some
Yep.
space in there.
And the buildings, existing buildings where Bob the Bugman and that's going to come down?
Yep, and the state will acquire that land there for
Oh, the
the fourth.
state does that?
It's state highway.
So they have been forewarned and all that good stuff?
The property owners are well aware. This has been in the talks for 30-plus years.
Okay.
It's just a matter of when. That is still up in the air. We were granted funding for 14. I think we got 5 million of the 8 million that is needed for the design and design work for the 2 interchanges. So it's moving forward faster than it
I
has
saw
in the
that
past, but.
the 5 million approval. I thought that just begs the question, why is design cost that kind of money?
That's part, that it includes,
The whole thing is gonna cost $100 million.
But to design it, sit and draw the design?
It's typically engineering is 10%, around 10%, 10 to 15%
Really?
cost, yes. A lot more than just drawing.
Yeah, you definitely want to make sure it's
You know, the
done
color
right,
grade.
because that's a huge mistake.
You ain't get out the color crayons and,
No.
There'll be, 800 pages of spec and, probably almost as many of drawings on.
wow.
a lot of engineering time into it.
So the city has nothing to do with that, that's state all,
State and county.
county?
We have some jurisdiction, a little. I guess I'm not sure at our, I kind of classify us as the cheerleaders in the background, so. Because it affects us the most, but it's state highway, county road, so they have the bigger hit on that, so.
So my take on it is, we are the cheerleaders in the back, we're pushing for it, we do not control it, and we do not want to control it, because the two entities that do, big
Sure.
dollars.
Sure.
So, I mean, so if you look at the county share of the avenue or County Road 44 interchange cost, it's pretty, like, as a city.
No, yeah.
Definitely not.
So do you want us to give revised recommendations in this meeting, or is it
You
just
guys
more for
have
discussion?
ideas, I'm gonna bring it back to the consultant, and then we'll work with them on updating it. And I'll have conversations with them, I'm not sure exactly how the pie graph conversations go in the background, but if you have recommendations on what you'd like to see, it will be helpful for them, and they can see how they can make that work, and
I
Go
mean,
from there.
I personally can't see how there's any low density in that red area.
Agreed.
I mean,
so
it should
no
ju-
low density is what you guys are thinking?
I think I
Well,
would,
I'm just curious, if we make changes to this one, how does it impact the overall picture? You know, like, if we adjust the percentages here, would we be making adjustments to the percentages elsewhere?
No.
Because this does not actually result in any.
And what you guys are recommending today isn't what's going to be set in stone. I will bring it back forth another draft. We will have to have a public hearing for a comp plan amendment. Residents have an option or opportunity to put their input into it as well. Then I'll go to council for final approval. So nothing that you guys say tonight. This is just recommendations. I'll have conversations with the consulting group. There may be back and forth conversations a few times before it's even finalized, so.
and the pie charts are just kind of like a guidance when we are getting those zoning requests of like what makes sense from what was kind of thought as what makes sense there.
Okay. And I wasn't sure if there was like a comprehensive plan that kind of was put in place first and then broken
There is
out.
a comprehensive plan, this is modifying that comprehensive plan. Part of a much larger document.
Yep.
It wouldn't change anything else in the document.
Yeah. It would, I mean, if you scroll down a few more, there is other pages that tie, you know, it defines the different land use categories. And then this one was, I think, business park is what they were emphasizing, the gateway to the community, right, reaches service.
You could also classify that whole area south of there as the gateway to go to the business park too, and then it's a mixture of the two.
Yeah, if you scroll down again, I'm sorry. That gateway bullet point, that's where the emphasis, so we'll have to do some rewording there. There'll be some few spots here and there that it will affect, but it's tied to that specific area where the hashtags
So
are.
just the south part was called the gateway and not the north part was classified?
The north part is the
Oh,
gateway
and
as
south
well.
is gateway.
But I just want to make sure when we are actually planning for development that we're putting in, because when developments come in, we tell them that, you know, we need, you know, we haven't reached our 5% high density, so you guys need to include that in your development. So we want to make sure we get what we envisioned for the area, so.
I mean, from a traffic standpoint, it's a good location for high density, right? Because you're going to have an on-ramp right there. You're not going to have any neighborhoods that are built, and then you have a request for an apartment complex that they have to drive through to get to the on-ramp. So it's nice to kind of cluster the big high density closer to the on-ramps. I think we get enough complaints about traffic changes when we add medium density and high density in places. So
Yeah.
I think trying to cluster it there makes a lot of sense.
Lucky, and somebody felt that whole area in Brown, south of 14 is commercial, that would be
Ben?
okay too, because they still have high density and lower density off to the side,
Opposite sides, yeah.
you know, so you'd still have your to the east and the west.
Because then you'd have your other on-ramp over here, right?
That will be closed off.
Okay, your next on-ramp is.
Sorry,
Three.
sorry,
County Road
3,
three.
or 5.
Oh, yeah, no, you're right.
No,
Where
it's
that
right here,
circle-
You'll have three, you'll have an on-ramp at 3 and
Yeah,
one
right.
at 5.
Yeah, so on this side, yeah, and then here, right?
Yeah, you're right.
And then you have the one in Dodge County, which we haven't heard anything about for a while.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Do you guys have anything else on that? Otherwise, I'll just kind of work with our consultant on how to update that.
For commercial, we could recommend an Arby's restaurant
Okay.
and a roller skating rink.
I mean, if we could get a Chipotle in town, that'd
In
be
Chipotle?
great.
I'll write down Arby's,
Bank account.
That'd be so great.
Chipotle.
I would actually walk there every day.
Yes.
Roller. Okay.
Stop having to pay DoorDash to bring it to me every day. Okay, cool.
Thank you.
What was next on the agenda?
Data center, yeah.
Data center.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so just to kind of get ahead of the horn on this, I'm hoping with all of the discussions on data centers, I wanted to start the conversation with you guys regarding if you guys want to start trying to incorporate a data center ordinance, what kind of information. I was trying to put information together for the packet this month, but I think I'll bring information to the next month. I don't know where everybody sits on their knowledge with data centers. It's a lot of information, and it's really hard because there isn't like when we changed the shed ordinance, the accessory structures, like this is what this city's doing, this is what this city's doing, what do you guys kind of want to do? This is a lot more in depth than that. So as far as data centers go, just kind of some brief information that I can provide to you guys. There are many different types of data centers, so we could try to word our ordinances to kind of attract a certain type over another. Just kind of briefly, there's like your enterprise data center, which is your typical traditional cloud. It's a big building, not a whole lot of megawatts compared to some of your, like the hyperscales, which are built for AI, a lot more acreage there. Your enterprise data centers are typically, 1 to 10 plus acres. Your hyperscale data centers are like 30 to 150 acres. Some of them have, if you look nationwide on your hyperscale, it's one huge building. It's been more common now that they break it up into individual buildings. So the big thing with data centers, obviously, is energy usage and water usage. We have found water usage. They have found alternatives, a closed loop system to keep them cool, so they fill the tubes. That's all the water they use. The downside, it takes more energy to cool the system. So, and we found traditionally that data centers typically follow transmission lines where the power's at due to their demand. There are current data center developments. You might have heard the one in Pine Island, Farmington, and Rosemount. Those are all going through litigation. Cannon Falls is actually getting a data center as well. They have bypassed litigation somehow in there. So, but a lot of these data centers end up under litigation. I don't know exactly what the litigation issues are at this time. Harmony is actually working on a data center ordinance, but they don't have any data centers knocking at their door that I am aware of at this time. And the other thing is the city is currently part of a grant opportunity with the U of M extension. City of Byron, Stewartville, and Lewiston are all, sponsors in this grant. And they're looking at data centers and specifically into power usage and water usage and how it affects this area if one of us were to get a data center, what that looks like if they use a lot of water for the Jordan Aquifer, what the power usage looks like, how that affects the grid, because there's a lot of concerns about, well, they're pulling all this power, our electricity bills are going to go up, or, you know, they're using a lot of water. Environment. So with that information, just kind of wanted to start the conversation. What would be helpful for you, for me to provide to you guys to help make these kind of decisions for zoning? I had some notes here. But.
I'm curious on a couple of things. Part of this I don't think is a zoning issue. I think the water usage should be through the water utility.
Mm-hmm.
They need to establish rules that prevent pump and dump, which is once through cooling, because that's your big usage, water. And, you know, look at use of the Jordan Aquifer, it's going to be really hard even for the communities that use it in southeast Minnesota to expand their usage of it, so we're going to end up going to aquifers, which is going to require expensive treatment.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I think that there's a pro and a con there. If you have a big user, you can push a lot of that cost of that onto them. As long as you do it right through the rates and stuff. But the problem is you get that big user and you're not prepared from a utility standpoint, you can really impact the other classes of customers. As far as the electricity, it doesn't matter where they put that.
Yeah.
It's going to have the same effect on our rates. It really doesn't. I mean, we're Excel or Peoples, we're buying off the MISO grid, both of them are.
Yeah.
It's not going to matter where they put, you know, if they put it anywhere in southeast Minnesota, we're all going to feel that effect. Whether that's a pro or a con, I don't see it as, you know, local ordinance is going to be able to.
Correct, and those issues, yes, we can't address, but we can look at where do we want them located in our system? Do we want to?
We treat it any different than other commercial building because it's basically a commercial enterprise.
Yeah, and then do we want to, you know, is there noise mitigation, light pollution, air pollution mitigations, aesthetics around it? Like, those are the kind of things that we would look at if you guys wanted to incorporate those. I don't know how, I haven't really looked into it, land sizes, you know, stuff like that.
I think I'd add, I think you should emphasize the noise piece. That's one thing I've heard. I mean, these things are a little different than, say, some other entities that maybe that operate for portions of the day. These things are 24/7. And I don't know if we would need clarity around like a noise or a vibration ordinance on that. I don't know what we have there, Kelly, for it.
Yeah, and I think that that's valid because there is a noise issue, especially for the ones that are putting in generation.
Yeah.
Generating a lot, so fast generator going there, and there is noise. Cooling equipment. You don't hear the sound of the actual stuff inside typically because they built pretty well to keep that.
Yeah, and then back to that grant study, the goal of that is what the U of M is working on through their research. They're doing research nationally with data centers that are already in place and kind of tying it to how does that fit our area. And then the end goal of this is to kind of have a toolkit for communities to use to help walk them through a data center development. In which there's a lot of useful information in there that we can use to kind of incorporate. But do we want to look at starting to incorporate some zoning regulations?
Requiring like a zoning for it would offer up that if someone was looking at using commercially zoned land, that they would have to go through a zone change request before, like they'd actually have to get approval to change the zoning if we had a definition of a data center zoning. Where if we didn't have that definition,
I don't,
It's not a permitted use under
okay.
typically listed, but I could be wrong on that, Kelly, but it's not a.
I think that's just the biggest thing. Like, could someone right now just buy commercial land that's zoned as commercial land and just basically, we don't have a lot of ways to ask a lot of questions, if that makes sense?
Might be able to, but I think the bigger way of doing that is what would your objections be if somebody did that, and how do you control your objection?
Right.
So, and that's, I mean, I do believe some, like I said, the pump and dump issue, that's
Yeah.
a big issue. I think
Noise.
Noise ordinance are big issues, but I think noise ordinance should be applied equally to
You're right.
all
Any
commercial.
commercial anyway.
So if you're trying to carve it out, I think you're gonna get yourself into a lot of legal problems.
And I don't know if we necessarily need to carve it out, but data centers are driving the discussion, right? And right now, our ordinance doesn't define data centers. It doesn't define any regulations for any of that. So if a data center came and it met all of our zoning requirements, we'd have to let it. So do you want to have that control of, well, we only want, like, we can word our ordinance to allow this kind of data center versus that kind of data center, and do we want to have more control? We want to put a conditional use on it. It's helpful to have regulations spelled out, you know, for noise and aesthetics, whether that's commercial district or if it's specific to data centers. I mean, that's what we have to look at through this whole thing. So, I just wanted kind of some guidance from you guys. What's helpful? I mean, I could throw a bunch of information at you and then say, "Here, good luck." Like, is there an idea of what works for you guys on how this would be helpful to move forward?
Is it possible we could have some communications with the city of Pine Island? Because there's a lot of controversy, and a lot of people attending those meetings. I'm not sure where it's at on the table right now, but my gosh, that thing sounded like it was gonna be a big one, the data center.
It's gonna be a huge data center, but
And
there's why that one's gonna be where it's at, but, I mean, I don't know what you're gonna get out of conversations with the city, because the city's in the middle of a lawsuit.
Right.
Over that?
Yeah.
So the
They won't
city
be able to
can't,
speak about that then,
can't
yeah.
speak.
Oh, I wasn't aware there was a lawsuit.
Yeah. Until they get through that, we can't.
Well, who's suing who?
Everybody's suing.
I don't know those kind of informations with litigations
I think
and stuff.
everybody's suing everybody.
There's a group of citizens that are involved in litigation against the city.
Okay.
And the Farmington and what was that other one? Rosemount are going through, like, almost every single city that has a data center going up in it, except for Cannon Falls, is going through litigation right now,
Oh,
and a
my.
lot of heat. And a lot of that is just the lack of knowledge that the residents have. They have their pre-assumption of what these data centers are without actually understanding the reality of it. They're putting their feelings in front of the facts. So, and that's where with the study that we're doing, we're hoping to get a toolkit and try to educate people on data centers.
Yeah, and I think the ordinance process or whatever allows us to go through some of the community education without an actual request and the burden of a request with us, right? Because we can have public hearings on the ordinance changes
Yeah.
and things like that. So that way we can get public feedback before we actually have a potential buyer. I mean, I think the
Exactly.
good news right now, we don't have a lot of awesome land available for a data center, right?
Well, it all is up to the farmers,
Oh.
the landowners.
Because, you know, it's not inside the city right now, but as soon as because of orderly annexation agreements, as soon as.
Oh, true,
I mean,
true.
They're gonna want to become part of the city as soon as they, start to develop it, and they're gonna be forced to anyway, so.
Yeah.
And there is a 345 kV substation right on the western edge of the
True.
city.
With a battery station going in,
Future battery station going,
so.
Really?
going north of it.
Do you-
Really, there is?
Do you think, Kelly, a place to start is to understand if, I mean, the noise ordinance, I think that's one piece we could control from this, this board. It sounds like the water consumption is probably out of scope for our review, possibly.
I would think it should be handled by the utility. I really think that should be the utilities, that's how it's being handled with Rochester and others, is through those requirements.
I'm kind of looking at,
Same with sewer, on how you're gonna handle, which is, they don't really produce a lot of sewage, it's just, there's now all this extra flow when you do a pump and dump. You're pulling out of the water system and you're going through, you're cooling, and then you're pumping it, and then it goes right back into the sewer system, so it all has to go be treated technically by the sewage plant.
yeah,
So it takes out a lot of capacity of your
And we could have a slight conversation, because it's not bad knowledge to know, but there's not a whole lot that you guys will be making decisions on. Don't worry about him. Yeah. So,
I think it would
as
be
far as
helpful.
that goes, I mean, were you saying something?
I think it would be helpful to understand some of the environmental impact as well,
Okay.
along with, you know, since there are lawsuits, and I'm sure there's a lot of information we can't get, but what are the lawsuits about? You know, is there a common theme, and, you know, are there any impacts? Because if we talk about education of people in the town, right, perception is reality, so at some point it doesn't matter. And if that ends up being something that deters people from choosing our community over another, I think that's, you know, and I don't know that how much we can play into that decision, but I think if we can have that information.
I think it would be helpful to understand if we really should differentiate a data center from other entities that might come in to, say, you know, a industrial area or a commercial area. I mean, that'd be helpful to understand.
I agree. I think that I'd like to see us continuing to investigate and learn more as we go through time instead of praying otherwise.
Yeah.
I think it does deserve some attention by us.
Yeah.
What that is, I'm not sure. But I have a friend who's on the city council in Pine Island, and I haven't talked to him in 6 months. It's time, I might give him a call and just say, hey, what do you think's going on? That last I heard, it was going to be on the north side of 52,
Yeah.
and in the same area that that group out of California had originally purchased that land to build something, plant or something was going to happen, and it all fell through.
So the one thing to understand too with data center developments and what I'm discovering is there's a developer that's building these. It's, you kind of compare it to like home building. Somebody's developing the land, a builder's building the house, and the person's buying it. So you have a developer building the data center, and then they don't know exactly who's going to end up in there until they sell it. So that's the hard thing with data centers as well, because people want to know, well, we don't know yet. We have a developer building the data center, and so it's just like buying a house. We don't know who's going to buy that house until they buy it. So, and I think people are having a hard time with that too, because they think the company is building it, which isn't the case with these data centers, especially these the smaller building ones like that too. So
Your big ones are being built specifically for companies, but not your smaller ones.
yeah,
And there's already data centers around in Rochester and things that nobody even knows they're there.
There, also at one point, the state was involved because they put in a huge overpass and interchange north of Orinoco, halfway between Orinoco and Pine Island, based on some.
Most of that land was bought by the actual data center is going on the west side of 52 north. That's where the existing 345 sub is. That's where the expansion to the 765 sub was already planned as part of the MISO tranche 1 or 2 project. So that's where they want their data center, right next to the substation.
Interesting.
Won't get into how I know that.
Yeah. Very
all right.
good.
Well, this was kind of helpful. I think I can we'll see how it goes, but I can kind of do like a data center 101, very brief data center information, and I can include some information on the environmental impacts that we're finding so far, what current lawsuits are about, and kind of have that information, and I'll see what else I can find, and then we'll kind of go from there. It's not going to be anything we're going to solve by the next month, but I think it's good for us to be ahead of the horn, like you said. That way we're not trying to scramble and try to figure all this out and deal with the public as one's being. We don't have any data centers knocking at our door, so that's a blessing right now, but we don't know when. We don't have control over that, so.
Will more than likely happen. There's trillions of dollars being spent on this stuff right now, so.
But, and if you guys have other things that come up as you're thinking about it, feel free to shoot me an email. If you run across anything that you find interesting, I can look into it a little bit more, but we'll just start with that.
That'd be good. Okay, great. Public comments? Public comments? Public comments? All right, do we have a motion to adjourn today's meeting?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All right, motion to adjourn the meeting at 6:44 PM today. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, meeting adjourned.